Hey, what's up, guys? Today I wanted to share what to focus on based on your portfolio size when it comes to DeFi investing. There's a ton of opportunities in crypto, and thanks to crypto and DeFi, I've been able to grow my portfolio into a multi six-figure portfolio, including stocks and some more like speculative investments like NFTs. You can check out my DeFi portfolio in the portfolio update section. So in this video, I will break it down exactly what you should be focusing on based on your portfolio size. Because let's say you have a small portfolio, then you don't want to over optimize, right? What you want to do instead is to learn the skills while you're actively trying to make more income to grow your portfolio. So it's very important to know what to focus on. I've been able to grow my portfolio from zero to multi six figures, and I've also consulted and managed like 8 figures portfolios before. So I do know a bit about investing, but like always, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my opinion, what I've learned, and what you should focus on for maximum results. And let's start from the very beginning, right? Let's say you're from $0 to 10K. At this point in time, whatever passive income you earn from the 10K, it's not likely going to be that much, right? Even if you're earning 100% APR, which is really hard to sustain, you're only going to make $10,000 compared to having like $1 million portfolio, for example, and making only 10% APR. So that's the first thing here. We want to focus on active income, and then we put that active income into DeFi or crypto, right? We buy some Bitcoin and maybe we do some yield farming on like blue chip pairs and stuff like that to grow our DeFi portfolio. But we're not going to spend too much time to basically manage our DeFi positions. Whatever earnings you've made, we want to compound it to grow our portfolio really quickly. But really more than like 90% of your effort should be on your active income. Because if you're spending all day managing a very small portfolio, the return on your time is going to be not worth it. You might as well learn some useful skills that could increase your earning potential over the next few years and make much more money from that, right? You hear it all the time, oh, like a millionaire has like multiple streams of income. But in reality, most of them started with only one or two, right? So to build wealth, we want to first focus on active income. But at the same time, if you really like DeFi, you really like crypto, you like passive income, then start learning right now, right? You don't want to wait until your portfolio is really big to start learning about investing. I put out a ton of free content for you guys so that you can learn and make better investment decisions when it comes to yield farming and DeFi. So we want to start learning, but don't spend too much time trying to like manage your positions with like high risk strategies. Like for example, squeezing the range too tight, trying to get like 100, 200% APR on a small portfolio. If the market dumps really hard and you're running high risk strategies, you're going to lose a lot of those money anyway, right? So that's what we want to focus on if you're at that level. And if you're at 10K to 100K, so this is what a lot of people call like the 5-figure hell, right? You're not breaking 100K. You want to make more progress. You're seeing your portfolio grow, but sometimes it drops back down. It just takes a lot of patience to get to 100K. Once you hit 100K, it becomes much easier to snowball your investment. But if you're still under 100K, it's a little bit more challenging. What we want to do, again, is still put active income into our DeFi portfolio. This is the fastest and the most guaranteed way to grow from 10K to 100K because we can never guarantee investment returns, right? What we can guarantee is our consistency, that we keep accumulating assets, and hopefully those assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum and even Solana appreciate in value over the next 10 to 20 years. That's how we grow our portfolio really quickly. And like always, we want to focus on compounding a lot of our investments to grow our portfolio. And in my opinion, when you guys break 10K, it makes it much more worth it to increase your skill level when it comes to yield farming. There's a ton to learn when it comes to yield farming, right? Like technical analysis. How do we scan for pools? How do we calculate impermanent loss? What do we do if we're out of range? What are the lending and borrowing strategies that we could implement? How do we beat impermanent loss? How do we profit from impermanent loss? What to do with the fees? And I could go on and on, right? But in this level, you want to focus on leveling up your skills. Again, because if you're trying to basically level up your skills, when you already hit like, let's say like 200K or 300K, by slowly dollar cost averaging, you're pretty much behind, right? You want to start building your skills now, especially if you guys want DeFi to be a bigger part of your portfolio. I currently have a lot of my net worth in DeFi simply because I could earn a much better return on that. But you do need a proper system in place. You do need to level up your skills. Same people yield farming the same pair could have a lot of different results. For example, Ethereum to USDC. If we look at Ethereum's price, it's very volatile, right? And one major beginner mistakes that people do is they try to squeeze the range for more APR. Let's say this yellow box is your range. They basically track the price movement, right? They earn a ton of APR, but not realizing that when the price is dumped, they lose a lot of their LP value. And if they keep rebalancing down, when the price rips back up again, you miss out on all of the upside, right? This is what I call range chasing. This strategy just doesn't work. And this is what a lot of yield farmers do because they don't know any better. And maybe they're not even tracking their portfolio correctly, right? So maybe you started with like 10 grand here. And by the time when you're like down here and the market is up here, maybe you end up with like 8 or 7 grand or even less, right? So I see this all the time. And even automated protocols, they do this range chasing strategies and they just get absolutely shredded by impermanent loss. And again, the reason why you're not making money is not because of the market, it's just simply because of your skill. And a ton of people have been reaching out to me to basically coach them and to level up their skills. That's why I created an online course. A lot of people prefer a more structured learning process, and it's definitely worth the money if you plan to invest at least 10 grand into crypto and DeFi, because the course is just going to save you from a lot of costly mistakes, right? I haven't officially launched the course. That's why you don't see like the links in the description or anything, but I started giving early access to people that reached out to me. It costs about 8 grand, and I give a bunch of early bonuses like one-on-one coaching. If you do decide to invest in yourself and level up your skills, you can reach out to me on X and I'll help get you set up. But really, if you guys are struggling with yield farming, you do need to learn more about it so that you could better manage your portfolio. I've made a lot of money from yield farming. I've also lost a ton, but with a system that has been working over time, your chance of making a profit is much higher, right? And what I want to also highlight is that we want to be more patient. It takes time to grow your portfolio, especially if you guys have, let's say, only like 10 grand and you're slowly adding to your portfolio, like you're not making a crazy amount of money. Most of us aren't, but if you're able to contribute like, let's say $200, $500 a month into DeFi, you're going to grow your portfolio really quickly compared to people who are not deploying the active income into DeFi. Then in that case, your portfolio growth would be much slower. So it's very similar to a small portfolio, but you're gonna start seeing much more results if you put in 10K. And before I move on here, make sure you stay patient. Don't take too much risk. It's very tempting to put like 10K into like a meme coin LP. You see like, a couple 100% APR. You just put all of your capital there only to see the token decline by 90 something percent. The volume dries up. You're not earning APR and then you lost all of your investment, right? So don't do that. Be patient. It takes time to work up to 100K. And this is where I'm at right now. Again, I have clients who are much more wealthier than me, but I do have expertise in terms of yield farming and investment. That's why they hire me to consult or to coach them. But really in this zone, what I'm really focused on is compounding my growth, right? I want to grow my portfolio to 1 million and beyond. I'm not going to like take too much income out of my portfolio because I'm trying to grow my portfolio, right? Our DeFi is going to generate income, and then we're going to compound the majority of our income to grow our portfolio to this $1 million and beyond mark. And the more you compound, the faster your portfolio is going to grow, right? And I'm not saying that you should be compounding into like all the higher risk plays. I'm saying we're basically staying invested. Let's say you want to realize some profit into stable coins. You can do that. You lend out your stable coins, you earn some compound interest on your stable coins, and then redeploy your stable coins once again when the price is really cheap. It's very undervalued. There's a lot of fear in the market. That's how we could take advantage of those buying opportunities. And at this level, we want to keep risk in mind as well. My portfolio is pretty high risk because I have other investments and I'm still pretty young. I'm still under 30. Even if I make a bad investment, I have like 30 plus years to recover, right? Assuming I live to at least 60 years old. And if I die earlier, I don't really have to worry about wealth anyway. But still, I want to keep a portion of my portfolio in check. For example, my portfolio value might fluctuate pretty wildly because I have a heavier position on like a lower cap coin like Pixel here that I have a lower cost basis on and I'm also bullish on. But I also have a lot of the blue chip DeFi positions like Pendle, Syrup, Athena, as well as Ethereum and USDC to basically grow my portfolio, right? I have some higher risk like MOG to Ethereum. I've also cut a lot of those higher risk investments and kind of consolidated my positions a little bit. So I'm always thinking about risk and keeping my risk in check. And eventually, if I just keep accumulating more Ethereum, more Bitcoin, more stable coins, as long as crypto grows, then I will reach $1 million, right? I don't want to rush my returns and take more risk to try to double my portfolio like in 1 year. It's still very possible with a portion of my portfolio, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to sweat it because I know that I'm accumulating good assets. And then those assets are very likely to appreciate in value over time. And then we also want to worry about diversification at this point in time. In my opinion, if you guys are having a bigger portfolio and 100% of it is in crypto, it's pretty risky. Crypto, even though it's getting adopted, is still considered a smaller industry. If there's a brutal bear market, your portfolio is going to draw down by quite a lot, and it's just going to make it very painful to hold through, right? What I prefer to do instead is to buy some stocks along with crypto and even stuff like gold or REITs, which are like the real estate ETFs, right? Stuff like that to diversify my assets across different industries and asset classes, even gold. It's very important if you guys want to protect your portfolio from any drawdown. We diversify across asset classes and we don't want to hold too much cash, right? It's just going to decrease our wealth because of inflation and money printing. And at this level, if you guys are still struggling with yield farming and DeFi, you could invest in like one-on-one coaching as well. If you like my approach of investing and yield farming, you could reach out to me and then we can set up a call. If I believe that I can help you, then we can set up one-on-one coaching, right? But really, the larger your portfolio, the more you're going to benefit from one-on-one coaching because I've made a ton of mistakes so that you don't have to, right? I've spent like thousands of hours studying this topic. I've had a pretty good track record. I do have clients that have good track records because I help them. But really, if you have 7 figures and beyond, it's even more important that you diversify your investments. Because at this level, we want to play more defense. We've already made a pretty big chunk of money. I believe in the US, less than like 10% of people are actually millionaires. So you've basically made it to the top 10%, and we want to protect our wealth by diversifying across asset classes. Again, I really like buying stocks. You could keep it simple, like buying the S&P 500 ETF or stuff like gold, REITs. But really what we're trying to do is accumulate even more assets so that our portfolio would grow over time. We're not thinking about like, how much cash we have, right? We're thinking about accumulating more assets, more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more stocks, more real estate. And those assets are going to give us income. And then we could use some of that income to pay for our expenses. But at this point in time, I always think it's a great idea to reinvest a portion of your income to grow your assets. A lot of times it's very hard to see like a flat portfolio. If you're not trying to grow your portfolio, it's very likely that your portfolio is going to decline over time. The main thing that could get you in trouble here if you're in 1 million and beyond is using your assets to pay for your expenses. This is a big no, because if you do that, your assets is just going to go down over time. And then your wealth is just going to be less and less over time, right? We still want to grow our portfolio, compound our wealth, become wealthier. But at this point, you can still benefit from increasing your skills and coaching as well if you do need help with liquidity pools. Again, the larger your portfolio, the more you benefit from stuff like coaching and the online course. And I just want to make a quick recap here on things that would benefit you at all levels. The first thing is active income plus passive income would lead to high growth. So that's the first thing to understand at all levels. Even if you guys are a millionaire, adding more active income to your passive income portfolio would allow you to grow faster. So if you're looking for growth, that's what we want to do. But at lower levels, it's very important that you don't try to live on too much of your passive income if you're still trying to grow your portfolio so that we can get a higher growth, right? And then we want to focus on compounding our growth. I like to use this Dave Ramsey compound interest calculator. You guys can Google it, but basically at all levels, compounding your growth over time will lead to a high net worth, right? Let's say you're investing for the next 30 years. Let's say you only have $10,000 to start with. And then let's say we're growing our portfolio. So maybe we're putting $500 a month into our portfolio. And let's just say we earn a 30% return on our crypto portfolio over time. You could see over 30 years, you would have $78 million, right? That's the power of compounding your investment, especially on longer time periods. And if we reduce this to 15 years, you will see a big difference here. Your portfolio would still grow by quite a lot, but now it's only $1.5 million, right? So the more you compound, the more consistent you are, the faster your portfolio is going to grow. And this is how we could build a huge amount of wealth, even if you guys contribute only a little bit, earn a decent return in the market while just staying consistent, staying the course, and just keep investing into DeFi. And then at all levels, I want to encourage you guys to increase your skills. If you are struggling in DeFi, it's very likely that it's your skills that is causing your portfolio to struggle. Of course, every portfolio is going to look like this, right? If you guys are in crypto, it's going to go up, go down, go up, go down. But we want to make sure that we're going up and to the right over time rather than, like something like this that just crashes because of bad decisions or because of strategies that are just simply too high risk. Again, I try to give you guys the best information I can on YouTube. And the reason why I made my course and the coaching program, because some people want to learn it faster or want more like personalized support. But what I really want to encourage you guys to do is to check out like all of the free content that I put out on YouTube. I try my best to help you guys so that we could build our wealth faster and grow our portfolio. So be sure to check these out. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.